Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. A new climate prophet has arisen. Twitter is promoting her today. Cyclones could soon devastate Europe, warns storm chaser climate scientist. She can see into the future and it's looking rough. If we're going to have water that's 30 degrees Celsius, that's a lot of fuel for tropical cyclones to keep going and keep intensifying, she says. That sounds pretty scary. We better take a look at the water temperatures around Europe. Water temperatures in southern Europe are around 20 degrees Celsius, and in northern Europe they're closer to 15 degrees Celsius. You have to go all the way down to near the equator to find 30-degree temperatures. It looks like the latest climate prophet has a little bit of difficulty reading maps. This map from NOAA shows all of the known tropical cyclone tracks since the year 1850. There were a lot of them, but according to climate experts, one or two of these were caused by Donald Trump, most likely ones which were drawn with orange hair. As you can see, not a lot of tropical cyclones hit southern Europe, but Europe has a long history of devastating winter cyclones. The All Saints' Day flood of 1570 killed tens of thousands of people in the North Sea. There have been lots of devastating winter cyclones in Europe. The best known one from the 20th century was the North Sea flood of 1953 at the end of January and beginning of February. That flood killed thousands of people in the Netherlands and in Britain. Europe's problem with cyclones generally occurs when the water is cold, not when the water is warm. The latest climate prophet doesn't seem to understand the present or the past, but climate alarmists believe she can see the future. Another well-known climate prophet was Dr. James Hansen of NASA. Here's an article from June 24, 2008. Hansen, echoing work by other scientists, said that in 5 to 10 years the Arctic will be free of sea ice in summer. Representative Ed Markey of Massachusetts said that Dr. Hansen was a climate prophet. But unfortunately for Senator Markey and climate prophet Hansen, there's more sea ice now than there was in 2008 when he made that prediction. In 1988, Dr. Hansen testified before Congress and warned that we were in serious trouble from global warming. He predicted in 1988 or 1989 that within 20 or 30 years, lower Manhattan would be underwater. Based on expert forecasts from people like Dr. Hansen, the New York Times predicted this week in 1995 that most East Coast beaches would be gone in 25 years or by the year 2020. That prophecy also didn't seem to work out very well. Another one of the expert forecasts from 1988 predicted that we were going to have 220-mile-per-hour hurricanes coming up soon. They also predicted there was going to be a sharp decrease in the amount of rice being produced. Since they made that forecast in 1988, rice yields have continued to increase linearly to record highs. We haven't been getting 220-mile-per-hour hurricanes, but in the year 1780 there was a hurricane with winds over 200 miles per hour. It was the deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record. The wind blew so strong that it stripped the bark off the trees. Meteorologists are of the opinion that this effect is produced on wind velocities of over 200 miles per hour. British Admiral Rodney wrote that the wind carried aloft 100 feet the heavy cannons of the ground fortifications. Here's a letter from the Oxford Journal dated December 30th, 1780. A private letter from Barbados dated November the 2nd, which is some days later than those published by authority, says that the late dreadful hurricanes that raged so violently in the island that not a single house, church, building, or public edifice was left standing. Climate prophets don't seem to understand much about the past, and they're not very good at predicting the future either. But Europe doesn't need to worry. In 2004, the top climate prophets in the Pentagon predicted that Britain would have a Siberian climate by the year 2020. They also predicted nuclear conflict, megadroughts, famine, and widespread rioting across the world. They might have been correct about the widespread rioting, but it doesn't have anything to do with climate. Climate prophets don't seem to be doing very well, but by telling really scary stories, they can get their 15 minutes of fame. And Twitter will of course promote them no matter how ridiculous their story is. And their story is even more ridiculous than it seems. It says read more, and they have a little hand pointing down at this picture. There's a fairly serious problem with the picture. This cyclone is rotating clockwise. That means the cyclone is in the southern hemisphere and it's nowhere near Europe. In the northern hemisphere, cyclones rotate the opposite direction. I'm surprised that a prophet meteorologist didn't notice this. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on this scam for the past 13 years. You can visit him, Kyrie, and Caesar on the web at realclimatescience.com.